Hey, thanks for coming in. My name is Ariel, and your name is Maiken, correct?
Yep. You said it right. Not a lot of people do, so good job.
Well, we're off to a good start then. So before we start, I just want to kind of discuss how this process works.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to ask you a bunch of questions that might seem kind of funny, and then after a period of time, I'm going to step out and kind of collect my thoughts and formulate some feedback for you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Perfect. So what brings you in today?
The world's just kind of a crazy place right now.
Mhm.
Like, there's just a lot that has been going on, and I have never experienced anything like this before. Like, I know a lot of other, no one's ever really gone through a global pandemic before. I mean, unless you lived in the 1400s, but and my anxiety has just been way worse. And it's been really hard because I just graduated and I'm trying to find a job, but the pandemic kind of hit and then the economy went down, and so finding a job has been really hard, and just all of my plans, I feel like I'm just in a standstill, and I can barely even move, and it's just been really hard to stick with that and not get down.
So you have a lot of stressors right now.
Yeah.
Might feel overwhelming, huh?
Yeah, I would say it is definitely overwhelming. I try my best to be positive and find things that I still like to do and stuff like that. But at the same time, it is also limiting in what I can do. So, I mean, now that things are opened up again, it's a little bit better. But I also want to be a good citizen and try my best to not constantly be everywhere and get my germs everywhere either.
Sounds like you really care.
I try. Someone's got to, right?
That's very true. So how would you know that our time today has been productive?
I don't know, just making it feel like I kind of have a plan for where I can go next. Maybe something to relieve a little bit of the stress. I don't really know exactly how that's gonna work, but I would like to not feel as stressed when I leave.
That makes sense. So you're
that's kind of my goal to be here.
So you kind of like making plans and trying to feel better and understand what's going on, and you want to find some coping skills, it sounds like.
Yeah, you could say I'm a pretty type A person. I mean, I've dealt with anxiety for a really long time. I know I have it. It's just a thing that I have. I don't take medication for it. It only comes up when I'm really stressed. So, while I was in school, yes, I was a little bit more anxious, or when I have conflict with other people. But just I don't even know. I just lost my train of thought of what I was thinking. Yes.
That's okay.
I like to be organized. I like to know what's going to happen, and the uncertainty of what's going on right now is making it really hard because I feel like a lot of things are out of my control.
Well, I just want you to know that I think a lot of people feel like that. You're not alone or weird for feeling so stressed out. And I just wanted to thank you for coming in today. That's a big step, and from what it sounds like, you really know yourself, and you know that you need a little extra. So it's really cool. Okay, so I kind of wanted to ask you a miracle question.
Mm-hmm.
So, you go to sleep tonight, and overnight, a miracle happens.
Mm-hmm.
Your problems are gone. Everything is good. So you wake up in the morning, and what would be one of the first things you would notice that would tell you the miracle has happened?
Oh, jeez. like, I could say I could, like, have the things that I want. Like, I could have a job and, like, everything was back to normal. But, like, I feel like, yeah, that would probably be what would do that. But, like, I think my stress is the problem and not, like, the actual things that are happening. And so, like, feeling less stressed would probably be the thing that would happen. How would I know that? Well, first I would probably sleep well. I haven't been sleeping super well.
Okay, so you've been struggling with your sleep.
Yeah, like I wake up a lot and like every once in a while I'll like kind of like jolt up and like feel anxious at like, 6 o'clock in the morning, which no one needs to be getting up that early right now. Like it's a normal thing when you have like a job and you're trying to get like, and my life was so busy before and now it's not busy and it's been a lot of change.
So the first thing you would notice is that you slept well.
Mm-hmm.
What else would you notice?
What else would I notice?
Let's say your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
How would your best friend know that this miracle had happened in your life? What would tell her that there has been a change?
I think like how would they know? I think my mood would probably be better. I generally think I'm a pretty happy, positive person, but like I think I would have a better mood. Feel like I've been down, like still. I wouldn't say like necessarily like meeting requirements for depression, but like it like is harder to get out of bed. So like I'm more tired, harder to get out of bed, like and like my day is just the start to my day is just slow. Where I feel like I would probably start my day and eat breakfast and meet like all of my basic needs. I'm not always good at that. Like eating and so I think they would just notice that like I was back to my like almost old self where I'm like more productive.
Okay. So you would sleep well, be rested.
Mm-hmm.
You would make sure you eat in the morning, have a more pleasant attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there anything else? How would you know that your problems were totally solved? Like everything you had listed when you walked in here. How would you know that it's all solved? So you said getting up would be easier, you would eat, have a better attitude.
How would I know that it's all solved?
That's a big question, I know.
Like, I don't know because everything is uncertain right now. So it's kind of like hard to say what would fix it. And like, can like the virus go away? Like, is that like, I don't feel like that's a plausible thing to even suggest.
Yeah, well, that's a fair statement.
So, I don't know. I feel like I would just be like back in a routine and feel good.
So routine is kind of your baseline, what you like to do. Okay. So I'm going to kind of ask you a scaling question.
Mm-hmm.
So today, on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being it was a really crappy day, it was one of the really hard ones, you were super stressed, you couldn't really accomplish things you wanted to, all the way to a 10, you didn't have any problems today, you had your routine, and you had a positive attitude, you slept well. Mm-hmm. Where do you think you land in that spectrum today? What would you rate today?
I slept pretty well last night. I do have, like, a job, but it's not a job that's in my degree. So, like, I went to work, but I, like, get to set my own hours. And I actually worked for, like, a pretty significant amount of time today. Lately, my work schedule's been kind of, because I haven't felt motivated to do anything. And I went to the gym today. So, like, I would say, like, today has been actually a pretty good day. Especially because I'm here, too. So, like, I've done, like, multiple things in the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Versus, like, literally lying in my bed like a blob. So, yeah. Like, I would probably rate it today as been like, a pretty good day. So, I would say, like, 7.
7?
Yeah.
Wow.
But, like, if you would have asked me about this maybe 2 days ago, like Saturday, where I literally laid in bed all day, went and got food, like, went on a date at night with my boyfriend, but, like, we see each other all the time. That's, like, that's a pretty normal thing, and it didn't require a lot of effort.
Okay.
Like, I would rate that day as, like, probably a 2 or a 3. So, like, I mean, it goes up and down.
And so, could you articulate what made the difference between the 2 or 3 and a 7? What do you think was different in the day and what you did or what happened that made that difference?
Sleeping well.
Okay.
Last night, like, I went to bed at, like, 10. Like, and fell asleep pretty easily. Didn't wake up in the middle of the night. I took melatonin the night before, like, last night.
Okay, so you took melatonin, you fell asleep at 10.
Yeah, and, like, I stayed asleep. So maybe that's because I don't always consistently take it. But I just really wanted to sleep well last night.
So how do you sleep normally? Do you just not have a routine and you just go to bed whenever? What does that look like for you?
Kind of depends. Yeah, so, like, it isn't very routine. Like,
okay.
I would say, like, I usually probably shower off after the day. And then, like, that's where I'll wash my face, and then I'll get out of the shower, brush my teeth, put on, like, pajamas, and then go to bed.
Okay. So that's what you did last night.
Yeah, and once I'm in bed, like, sometimes I'll watch TV, and the TV was on last night, but I kind of just fell asleep, so it kind of just depends on the day. Some days it's not as good. Some days it's not as good as other, but I think, like, the melatonin definitely helped.
Okay.
To, like, help keep me asleep, because, like, night before, like, I woke up at, like, 2, and then 4, and then 5:30, and then 6, and then 7.
That sounds miserable.
It is.
So besides the sleep was part of the change. What else do you think could have added to that?
I had made a list on Friday at work of stuff that I needed to get done. So, like, I already had planned, like, what I was going to do at work today and knew that I needed to be there for longer than I normally am. So I'd made, like, a plan. I had, like, scheduled a plan beforehand.
Okay.
I think was probably something that helped. And then, big fan of the gym. Like, very big fan. Always helps me get into a better mood, and, like, I just really like the gym. And, like, so that was a good thing. I did twist my ankle on Friday, and that was, like, something that made it hard to sleep on Saturday. So I guess that's the thing. And it also made it so I didn't go work out on Saturday. But, yes, like, having a good workout always puts me in a better mood.
It's great that you recognize that.
Yeah.
You're very aware of how your day goes and why.
Yeah. Also, like, I knew I had to be at work at a certain time because I knew I had to leave for the gym at a certain time because, like, I go to a specific class.
Oh, so do you schedule this class or?
Like, I scheduled beforehand, so it was already scheduled, so I knew what time I had to be at work and what time I had to leave.
Okay.
In order to be. So
it sounds like you had that routine and structure that you said that you really need and enjoy. Okay.
Now just consistently doing that. You know?
That's understandable.
And I don't know, I have so much more free time than I did, like, before all of this happened. And I'm not necessarily saying this is, like, a good thing, because I don't think it was necessarily healthy before. But, like, I'd wake up and go to the gym, and then I would go and work, and then I would go to, like, my second job and work, and then I wouldn't see my house from 8 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. So, kind of, like, a really big difference from, like, being so structured and scheduled.
Really hard transition.
Yeah.
I see.
So, like, every minute of every day was scheduled, and now it's not. So I'm just like, well, I have time. I have time. So that's why it's, like, been really hard to, like, schedule a routine for every day.
And so that's kind of where the stress stems, is not having that routine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm going to take some time and process what we've talked about, and then I will be back with feedback.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, thanks for letting me take that little break to collect myself.
Mm-hmm.
Before I present feedback, is there anything else that you would like to mention, something I should know about, or anything of that nature?
No, I feel like I talked a lot about what's happening. Kind of feels like all over the place, but my life feels all over the place, so...
That's understandable. I think I have a pretty clear picture of kind of the main points. And I just wanted to say how impressed I am of, like, how you know yourself and how you work. That is not something that everybody knows. That is pretty unique. And I wanted to mention, whether you know it or not, you have been solving this problem you came in with. So you know how to cope, and you talked to me about days that were better, and you named everything that was better. And some of the things that you named were the gym, restful sleep, structured work time, and meeting basic needs like eating breakfast. All of those things seem to make your day better. Is there anything else that we should add to that list?
Gym, eating the right foods.
Eating the right foods. What do you mean by that?
Oh, I was saying, like, eating breakfast and stuff like that.
Okay. So eating your meals.
Then, like, structured work time, yes. And, like, getting a restful night's sleep. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and we also mentioned, just to reiterate, for the restful sleep, that you would take melatonin to help you achieve this.
Yeah, that's usually
All right.
how it goes.
So it sounds like you have a pretty good recipe for how to reduce your stress that you were talking about. So how can you repeat this in between now and our next session?
I mean,
and I'm not
doing
saying
all those things. Yes. Like,
and let me clarify. So I don't mean like 100%, like boom, you solved the whole thing. Let's say something that can make your days 10% better. So how do you go from having like 3 days to having a 4? How can you make that change more consistently, do you think?
Probably, like, I guess, like, the sleep is probably the biggest thing, which, like, I noticed that I took melatonin, and that's, like, kind of what helped me. Probably shouldn't keep the TV on at night, because sometimes that keeps me up.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll, like, read a book, and it makes me fall asleep faster. Yeah, like, being consistent with that, and then, but, like, I would also say, not necessarily sleep, but, like, having a consistent schedule of working, and knowing when I'm going to work, and making sure I, like, hold myself accountable to that.
Okay.
Because then, like, I don't feel like I waste, like, the whole day, because, like, I hate and, like, I hate when I don't feel productive, which, like, I can give myself a little grace. Like, I know this is not like any other time that's happened before.
We're all doing the best that we can. I think that is a fair statement.
Yeah. So, like, I think about that all the time. Like, I'm like, okay, like, this isn't, like, life isn't normal right now, so, like, I shouldn't always have to be like, this is the normal thing that would be happening.
So, let's zero in.
Yeah.
We both talked about a lot of things. So, I think let's start small.
Okay.
So, my suggestion for you to try your homework, per se, is to do more of that nightly routine that you were talking about. Maybe reading and then taking melatonin, going to bed at 10 p.m. You said that was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we focus on doing that few more times in between now and our next session.
Yeah.
And just see how that affects your day. And kind of build from there. Let's build from there.
Yeah. Maybe I'll, like, set an alarm in my phone that's like, hey, it's this time, like, start getting ready.
Alright, that sounds wonderful. Well, thanks for coming in today. I'll see you next time.
See you next time.